I had the pleasure of interviewing Khadija Khan, a journalist for The Nation, Elo Magazine, Sisterhood Magazine, and many other publications. She's Pakistani and now based in the UK. Here she is describing how modesty culture is toxic and harms women. Here is Khadija.
This modesty culture is
Yeah.
obviously it is based on the more religious moral values which dictate women and each and every moment of women's life, that how they should conduct themselves socially, politically, whether they are allowed to go to schools, whether they are allowed to go to, and again they say that there is this problem of interpretation, that everybody interprets religious scripture differently, and then they enforce the laws according to their interpretation, and it also implies in regards to women's right. But in Saudi Arabia, we see very strict, interpretation of religion in regards to women's right, and they restrict women, they force women to cover themselves, like it's happening right now in Afghanistan, in other Muslim majority countries. It's becoming a trend, I would say. So the modesty culture means that a woman should be a modest, pious, righteous one, and she has to cover herself. She has to talk slowly. She would not talk loud. She would, look at, men who are not from her family, na mahram. She would not be in a room alone with a na mahram, and these kind of things. These little details that constitute what it is to be a modest woman. So this is toxic because it controls women, it controls women's sexuality, it does not allow women to be herself, to be independent, and to be opinionated. It denies women respect, dignity, and basic human rights to, to make a choice for themselves. So this is what this culture perpetuates. It perpetuates women rights abuses, and when women's are, and then people help the culprits to get away with those abuses, and they don't have to answer to anyone when they are beating their wife. It's an ordained right for them, and they can just do it to discipline, because the excuse is enough to justify their mistreatment, that she was not obedient enough. I said something, she didn't follow, and I just beat her. So I say that modest culture, and that hijab and burqa and niqab, these are the visible symbols of this modesty culture. Actually, these are the tools that help to perpetuate that structure, that social structure where women are discriminated and marginalized in the name of protecting moral values. Like in Pakistan, we see that Women's March, women are simply taking to the street to demand their basic human rights, but they are considered as vulgar because they are exceeding the limits of those moral values which have been set by men in powerful position, and obviously women are obliged to stay within those boundaries, and they are exceeding the limits by protesting for their basic human rights. So I think it's beyond comprehension that a religion or a religious reading or a tradition, if they denies women respect, dignity, and basic human right, how can it deserve respect or any kind of concession in 21st century, when we are talking about women, equal rights for women in all manners, in social, political, and legal manners, regardless of her, gender, sexuality, of her views. She should be treated as an equal member of the society. So I have no idea how can we just make these excuses. Yes, these excuses are used by some apologists to downplay women's plight and make overlook what's being done in the name of religion. And these are women's right abuses. And I think we need to look at them as such.
That was beautifully said, really well said.
Speaking of parents, I would say I would like to say one thing.
Yes.
The role of parents is very important. When I was like very young, and my father, he bought me some hijab, very colorful hijab, to make me get used to this, practice. And I started wearing it very, like, conveniently. I had no problem in wearing it because I would match my hijab with my clothes, and it was really fun thing for me. But for some time, after some time, I felt like I don't want to wear it. This is how the children behave. I want to wear it today, but I don't want to wear it tomorrow. So when I tried to take it off, then I was told by my father that no, you cannot take it off. You have to wear it. And for me, it was like a shock. uh, I wasn't expecting this, but I was very fortunate enough that my mother was there. She stood for me. She confronted my father and said, I didn't give birth to a slave. She would never wear this again. And you never dare to put this on my girl's head. And she pulled that hijab off my head. And that moment defines for me what it is to be a liberated woman, what it is to be a free person. So I would say that it is a kind of request, literally. I can understand why would you not look at your children and love them unconditionally and just think about what other people say about you and your children. I can never understand this thing. So I would urge people to look at your kids and just feel like they need you and your love more than anything in this world. And it's your love, your support that defines everything that they are going to, grapple with in their future lives. So be with them and make it possible that you are always in their favor, not listening to the people what they are talking about.
So just to kind of reiterate, so your mom, when your dad first gave it to you, she was okay with it because you were okay with it. But then when you were
No,
not okay with it,
she was like, okay, she's wearing fine.
yeah, yeah,
She didn't like it,
yeah,
but it was like me. I want to wear, mom.
yeah,
I like it. Papa bought me. I want
yeah,
to wear it.
yeah,
So it was like, okay, wear it.
yeah.
Maybe she knew me. She knew that I'm gonna just say that. Okay, I don't want to, because this is how children. Some people say that, okay, a little 4-year, 5-year-old girls, they imitate their mothers when
Yeah,
mothers wear hijab. I can completely understand this, but I don't buy into this argument that they want to continue doing it for the
yeah,
rest of their lives, because
yeah.
children, they love one thing for one day, and they just they get bored the second day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's good. I appreciate that she didn't stop you. She let you figure it out for yourself. And then
Oh, she
when you
was
needed,
lovely.
yeah, and when you needed support, she was there to support you and say, listen,
Yes,
she doesn't want to
yes,
wear it now.
yeah,
get get
and
lost.
she faced the wrath of my father for that. It
Oh,
wasn't easy. It was never easy for her.
yeah. Well, that's great. You have a wonderful mom.